Welcome back to Ash's Reality Recaps. Farmer Wants a Wife, Season 2, Episode 3, Tailgates and Tantrums. In this episode, we're going to jump into the group events that each one of the farmers have with their ladies, and then we're going to go to a Clemson, South Carolina football game. A lot of the drama happens with football games, so let's jump right into this. First, we're going to jump into Farmer Nathan. Farmer Nathan only has 4 ladies left on his farm, as he only started with 4 ladies, because the lady that he chose to come first for the first 24 hours was unable to come to a family emergency. So Nathan takes his 4 ladies out onto his property to do some guava picking. During that guava picking, he identifies that Rachel is becoming detached and just kind of separating herself from everything else going on. Nathan pulls her aside, they have a conversation, and she opens up and basically says, when I'm outside of what I do, I'm an extrovert, but when I'm in my house, I'm an introvert. So it's very difficult for her to be in his house with all these other ladies. She's just not feeling comfortable. So thankfully, Nathan identified this, had that conversation with her, and we'll see where that goes in the rest of the episode. Well, Nathan didn't have much else going on in this episode. He's got a really good connection with Kristen over here, but at the end of the day, he really identifies that Rachel is just struggling. He wants to get to know her a little bit more. I have a feeling this is going to be one of those one-on-one dates where it's going to determine if she stays on the farm or goes. So he knows he has a connection with Kristen. He knows that's growing, but he goes ahead and takes Rachel out on the one-on-one, and we'll see how that goes next episode. Let's jump into our next farmer. Our next farmer we're going to jump into is Farmer Ty. So Farmer Ty is a professional roper, and for his group date at the beginning of this episode, he takes his 4 ladies out to do some roping lessons. While at the Clemson game, this is something that I really liked. Brooke pulls Ty aside and has a conversation with Ty. Now, Brooke feels very confident in where their relationship is right now, so she goes ahead and tells Ty, hey, use the one-on-one date to get to know some of the ladies that you don't feel comfortable with right now. Like, I'm comfortable where we're at. Use this time. Make sure you have a connection with the other ladies so that we can move forward. I really respect this. It shows her confidence. Ty's open to this as well. You can see these two have a connection. Brooke is truly probably my leading lady for Ty right now, but we'll see how that goes. So after this conversation, we move into Ty's decision for the one-on-one date. And so we come to Ty's decision for the one-on-one date. We already know he has a connection with Brooke. So Ty goes ahead and decides to take Amy on his one-on-one date. He says that Amy's been a little reserved. He just needs to see if he can get to know her a little bit more. Again, this is going to be one of those dates where it's going to determine if she stays on the farm or he sends her home because he already sees she's reserved. And obviously the connection's not there after he already had the conversation with Brooke to kind of see how she feels about this whole process as well. So let's see how that date goes in the next episode. So next we move on to Farmer Mitchell. Farmer Mitchell, again, we don't really know what he farms. Personally, I don't think he belongs on the show. He's a first-generation farmer that owns some property and calls himself a farmer, but he doesn't farm anything. But that's beside the point. That's just me venting. It is what it is. So Farmer Mitchell takes his 5 ladies down to chop some wood. He shows them how to use an axe. They split some wood, and then they move on to the rest of the episode. Sorry, I just don't think he's a farmer, but I could be wrong. But anyhow, let's move on to what happens next. Moving on to the Clemson football game. Apparently, I'm not the only one that doesn't have a lot of confidence in Farmer Mitchell. So Brittany goes ahead and pulls Farmer Mitchell aside, basically says, you don't pay any attention to me. I don't feel comfortable being here. Are we on the same mindset? You can see here the direction with which Farmer Mitchell is looking. He is obviously detached at this point and says, no, I can't say we're on the same mindset. And she goes ahead and leaves the show. So, again, I'm not the only one that doesn't feel the most confidence in Farmer Mitchell. Apparently, Brittany didn't either, and she exited stage left. Let's move on to who Farmer Mitchell chooses for his one-on-one date. So let's move into Farmer Mitchell's choice for his one-on-one date. Well, Sydney here thinks that she is a shoo-in for this one-on-one date. She likes to fish. She likes to hunt. She basically likes everything that Farmer Mitchell likes. Well, Farmer Mitchell throws a curveball, and he chooses Kate for the one-on-one date. Now you can see that Sydney's pretty upset at the end of this episode, and she just doesn't understand why she didn't get to go on that one-on-one. Sydney, take a step back and just understand and realize that this is a good thing because he may send Kate home if they don't have a connection. So Sydney's upset, but let's see how it goes. I actually think that Sydney's a pretty good front runner. And finally, we move on to our last farmer, Farmer Brandon. Now, Farmer Brandon is the farmer with the most drama right now. Currently, drama between Reba and Joy, who are back here in the corner, because Reba feels that Joy is fake. Joy has no idea this is going on because Joy is just happy-go-lucky, and hence her name is Joy. Well, for their group event in the morning, they go ahead and make breakfast together. Joy and Grace, who is back here, go out and pick some eggs, and the rest of the ladies make breakfast. That's their group event. It's not the biggest group event, but they got to bond with each other. So let's move on to the football game and see what happens there. Well, lo and behold, during the Clemson game, Reba finally loses her filter. She basically turns into the mean girl that we saw glimpses of in the last episode, and she looks straight at Joy and tells her that she's fake and she's not genuine. It's a bit of a shock that it happens in front of all of the ladies. It even happens in front of the ladies that are in a tent behind them. At one point you can see them looking over the shoulder to see what's going on because they hear all this drama. I have a feeling in the next episode that Reba may be going home, but we'll see how that works out. Now, during this spat between Reba and Joy, Grace, she steps in and calms everybody down. This really stands out to Farmer Brandon, and he kind of says, wow, she's the peacekeeper. She kept a calm, level head, and she didn't get involved in that drama. So let's move on to Farmer Brandon's one-on-one date. All right, so when Farmer Brandon chooses his one-on-one date, it feels pretty good because he chooses Grace. Grace was the one that stepped in between Reba and Joy and calmed down the tensions. And again, you could see that really meant a lot to Brandon because Brandon seems like a low drama, no drama kind of guy. His farm is in the middle of nowhere. He's not near a lot of civilization, so Brandon probably just likes to enjoy life. So, good job, Brandon. Thank you for choosing Grace. And everyone, I hope that helps you understand what's going on in Farmer Wants a Wife so that you know what has happened so far in this season. It's only been 3 episodes, but they've been pretty good so far. Now, I kind of like how this show's going. It's not that full-on drama like Bachelor and all those other shows. It's a little more sensitive drama. Now, you can see there's a lot of room for improvement and growth here. Again, in Australia, they're in the double digits of seasons, so they've kind of got this buttoned down. But the American show here, season 2, hopefully as they move this thing forward, they start figuring out the dynamics of this a little bit more. Because I do like the show, it just seems a little rough around the edges. And that's Farmer Wants a Wife.